come at the end of what has been, by all accounts, a fabulously stimulating and exciting day filled with leaders and thinkers about what it means to be a progressive in our country. I'm delighted to share this stage with two people who are particularly important leaders in the progressive movement. I've had the pleasure of working with Neera for many years, and I have seen her intellect and energy in action on so many occasions. She brings a passion for problem solving and ideas for serving others that is inspirational. And of course, I've seen her grow from a 27-year-old staffer into an accomplished leader. So I really think we owe another round of applause and appreciation to Neera Tanden. And what can I possibly say about John Podesta that could do him justice? There is no one like him in Washington, D.C., or probably anywhere else. When my husband needed a sure hand to steer his second term in the White House, he turned to John Podesta. Equal parts thinker and doer, fighter and facilitator, brilliant, yet always modest and level-headed. And when President Obama needed a respected leader to oversee his transition, he again turned to John Podesta. And whenever I need advice, either on grand strategy or day-to-day tactics, I turn to John as well. He is our indispensable man and someone who has carried CAP on his shoulders for so long. And I am deeply grateful to him, and I know the voice of God, which is appropriate, introduced him, but I think we should also show our appreciation again to John Podesta. You know, John and Neera and I have been discussing what it means to be a progressive in America and in the world for years now. We may have different experiences and backgrounds, but we share a set of values that animates our work and our lives. The values of justice and freedom, of opportunity and equality, that everyone the world over deserves to have in their lives and their societies, who deserve to have the chance to live up to their God-given potential to participate fully in the economic, political, social lives of the places where they were born and live. And so when you look at these values and how much the United States had to do in thrusting them into human history and nurturing them and protecting them for so many years now, it's always a little surprising that we have to keep fighting so hard on behalf of them to make the case over and over and over again. But Neera and John and so many of you roll up your sleeves every single day to build the case for a progressive agenda. It's based on data and evidence, not ideology. It's a fight for policies that will actually achieve results and better people's lives. I well remember when John and Sarah Wartell first came to see me about this new idea they were working on, a progressive think tank that would stand up and fight back in a city that had a lot of think tanks on the other side of the aisle, that would champion our values, develop smart policies based on sound research and scholarship, and then would advocate and engage in the public debate. At the same time, Neera and I had been talking about how we could see this happen. We were working on the very same idea, and at the end of the Clinton administration, I knew that if we didn't have an infrastructure in place to continue to build on what had been accomplished and to sort of hold the line on any efforts at retrenchment, we would not be doing our job. So we began to talk, and the results are that Neera, John, and Sarah joined forces and CAP was born. Now, there were skeptics back then. Many people in Washington thought it would be impossible to raise the money and build the top-notch staff that could compete with the more established institutions, especially on the right. But they underestimated both the talent of this team and the hunger in the country for bold new progressive policies. So CAP grew incredibly fast. It attracted eminent scholars and experienced practitioners. It began quickly influencing the important debates about both foreign and domestic policy, and in particular, CAP's efforts to put the cause of affordable, quality health care for every American back on the national agenda was essential. So the ideas that sprung from CAP began influencing the debate, and it no longer seemed unusual or a little bit of a novelty to have CAP at the table making the case for progressive policies. Now, CAP's combination of avowedly progressive values, evidence-based policy formulation, and forceful advocacy has made it unique not only in Washington and America, but around the world. As I traveled as Secretary of State, it was not uncommon for me to be asked about CAP, particularly by leaders who were hoping to have an infrastructure to support their views in their countries. So we've seen what happens when you marry the importance of ideas with activists who know how to carry those ideas forward. You know, the movements in our history for civil rights and women's rights, for organized labor, for clean air and water, so much more, have been advanced by men and women who gathered the data, marshaled the arguments, wrote, spoke, marched, advocated, just like CAP. And we've seen, unfortunately, what happens in our public debates when they occur in what I do call an evidence-free zone, where people make claims and arguments that have no basis in evidence, but which are ideologically motivated. When politicians choose scorched earth over common ground, families have felt the consequences. Workers furloughed, businesses suffering, children thrown out of Head Start programs, poor mothers worrying they won't get the help they need to buy formula and food for their babies. We are careening from crisis to crisis instead of having a plan, bringing people to that plan, focusing on common sense solutions, and being relentless in driving toward them. So CAP is needed today as much, if not more, than it ever has been. Because as we look ahead to the next 10 years, there are very big challenges facing us, facing our country and facing our world. And we will need your help. There are so many examples that you discuss during the day. There are so many issues that you work on every day. And I'm just grateful, and that's what I came to say. I'm grateful that CAP exists. I'm grateful that people support it generously. I'm grateful that it attracts such talent and incredible energy and determination to make a difference on behalf of our country. Progressive ideas have helped make this country the greatest force for human liberty, dignity, and opportunity the world has ever known. And I know that CAP will continue leading the way, looking over the horizon while keeping one's feet firmly planted in the here and now, helping to renew America's promise and greatness for years to come. So happy birthday, thank you, and let's keep going. When does the cake come out? I was going to jump out of the cake. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Have fun, guys.